This video is going to be a little bit different from my normal stuff. There's no step-by-step build or tutorial. It's going to be my real world experience and what I'm really using right now for AI coding, comparing Cursor to Claude Code to Codex. And this is after spending just about every day using these tools over the last year. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to give you a feature comparison table that you could get just by reading the websites. I'm going to give you my real world experience and opinions about which tool I'm using and which one I recommend for you. And there are actually use cases for using all of them in your workflow. So I'm excited to break it down for you in this video. Cursor was the first AI coding tool, and it started out as a tool to basically have like autocomplete for developers. And as the models have improved, it's turned into a more agentic product. Cursor has their own Composer 2.5 model, which is a lot less expensive than other coding models and actually really good. But you can use the other models as well. You may have recently heard about Cursor being acquired by SpaceX. So they were just purchased for $60 billion from SpaceX. And I think it's very likely that there are going to be new powerful models coming out that are going to be unique to Cursor because SpaceX has a lot of compute power that they're going to be able to use on training new models. So this is something that you're going to want to watch out for in the future. Claude Code, on the other hand, can be used in two different ways. One is through your terminal. You can just open terminal, type Claude after you've downloaded it on your computer, and then use it through your terminal. There's also a Claude desktop app. This is what we're looking at here. This is the Claude desktop app with chat, co-work, and Claude Code. So you can use it in the desktop app as well. And I'm going to talk more about how I use it later on. Then there's Codex. This is from OpenAI. It is basically their answer to Claude Code. This is what the desktop app for Codex looks like. Now you can use Codex through your terminal command line as well, but I think most people, including me, are using it through the desktop app. And I'm going to talk about how I actually use this app both for building in Codex, but then there's a way that you can use Claude Code inside of this desktop app as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. Now, to give you some context, the things that I'm building in here are not necessarily simple. So this is not just my opinion after building like a couple landing pages. I'm currently building an app called Instapilot, although that name may change by the time this video goes live. But it is basically an AI agent app similar to something like Claude Cowork or Manus, but it's my own spin on it. And I'm actually using it for a lot of my own personal work, but I'm using these AI coding tools to code and build this software. So this is something I'm building with AI coding tools. It's a pretty complicated code base. I also recently used these tools to fully rebuild my website and migrate from Webflow to real code. So we cloned the site. I actually made the design a lot nicer at the same time, and also have built some pretty powerful features in here, like connecting to my newsletter software. There's a lot of connections, improving the way that different users might see some different information on this site, depending on their interaction with it. So just building more advanced features than were available on Webflow. And it's also just a lot faster to click through. So I rebuilt the site. So this is another project, but I've built many projects using these tools. In a second, I'm going to talk about which tool is best for design. But before that, I am going to jump into today's sponsor, Supabase. Supabase is a platform that allows you to very easily add user authentication, database, storage, APIs, functions, subscriptions, so much more into your app that you're building. Supabase is what I genuinely use for the projects that I create. And it makes it really easy, especially if you're building with these tools like Claude Code, Cursor, or Codex, to add a database, user authentication, and more to the apps that you're building. I highly recommend checking it out. It works with any framework that you want. It has a really good developer community and developer platform and API to connect to these AI tools that I'm talking about. So the AI models work really well and understand how Supabase works and can integrate it really well. You can get started for free, and then you can upgrade once you need additional features, but you can get started for free, which I recommend doing if you want to just test out and build your own personal app with a backend and user authentication. Try it out. Click the link in the description to try it out. I definitely recommend that. And it's great for developers of all skill levels. Even if you're a beginner, it gives you that instant backend everything you need to learn and build, and it's scalable and dependable as your app grows. So thank you again to Supabase for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description to go to Supabase and learn more. All right, so now what I'm going to talk about is design. So right off the bat, Codex right now is bad at design. The 5.5 model is just not good at design. It is possible that the new models that come out from OpenAI are going to be better at design. And maybe then I would be more likely to use Codex for front-end design. But right now, it is just not very good. I also don't find the copy that it writes, the words that it writes, to be like good. I feel like it's not something that I would want to publish. So right now, that is not what I'm using Codex for. I am personally generally using Claude Code for design. I think that the Opus models are just better and more reliably, something that I can rely on to just look good and have a higher quality. And I can just rely on them more to just have a generally better quality level. I also find that it's a better writer, so that also I think is better. It's not perfect, but that's generally what I go with. Cursor. Now, I don't personally use Cursor as much right now. I've been using the Codex app the most, and I also have a $200 Codex subscription, which I think is keeping me there a little bit more than I would with Cursor. Now, I think in the future, maybe I'll jump over to Cursor if they launch a better model. But there is a new feature that was launched on June 5th, and I'm going to show you here. This is like an example of what it is. And this is something that is not available in Claude or Codex, is this ability to use almost a point and click interface to make design changes. And this allows you to make more like specific design changes that are a little bit harder to do in Codex or Claude. So for design, I think this is also a really helpful feature, this design mode here. And I'm going to show you another example, multi-select. So you can, for example, let's make sure we use the same component for these tools, and it had multiple elements selected. So this design mode can be really, really helpful, and it's something that I do use as well. But like I said, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, the Codex app is the one that I'm just enjoying the most right now. So as a result, I'm using Cursor less in general, but this is actually the one place where I will use Cursor. And talking about the apps a little bit more, sometimes I will use the Claude Code app. Generally, I am using Claude in the terminal, and I'm going to show you how I do that inside of Codex, because I just like using the Codex app more. That's the one that I'm finding just the best user interface. It's the smoothest. I really like the Codex app. There's also a really cool feature I'm going to share later in this video about that kind of makes using the Codex app a little bit more fun. So here we are in the Codex app, and this is what I've personally been using the most lately. What's nice about the Codex app is you have projects. So projects are folders basically on your local computer. And then you also have chats. So you can have chats that are just kind of one-off chats. They're not attached to a folder on your local computer in the way that projects are. I like this better than the Claude app, which has on the top this toggle between chat, cowork, and code. The Codex app is just all in one. So I personally prefer this setup. Here we are inside of the No Code MBA website folder. And I'm showing you a feature that I think really sets the Codex app apart. I'm asking it to use browser. This is the in-app browser with Codex to open the homepage locally. So it is creating a local server, connecting the browser, and then it should open the browser in just a second on the right side. This is really great for a few reasons. One, it's helpful as a developer to see, okay, here it is. This is our app locally. And we can just see what's happening, browse it, etc. It's also helpful for research. So I could say, hey, open the browser, look at this competitor or something like that for inspiration. There's a lot that we can do with this browser. Codex can even take action with this browser. So here's what I'm going to say. Go to the newsletter page, enter Seth@nocode.mba as the newsletter email, and submit. So you're going to see now Codex literally take over the browser and do it. And this is something that is not, Claude doesn't have. Claude has an integration with Chrome so that you can have similar functionality, but in my opinion, it's not as fully integrated and as well done as this. So here it literally went to the newsletter page and it is going to enter in the email. And it's going to take action for us. This is just something that, again, it can't be done with the Claude app. It actually can be done with the Cursor app. Cursor does have an integrated browser. But again, like I said, for me right now, because I have the $200 a month Codex subscription, that kind of ties me in here to the kind of this ecosystem. So it's interesting how that works. And again, if Cursor came out with the best model, I would switch to them. I don't think that a lot of people have a lot of loyalty necessarily to a platform. It's more about, at least for me, the best model that I can get. I will say for the 3 days that Claude Fable was available, and hopefully by the time this video is out, Fable is available again, because I really want to use it. I was using Claude. So I'm really going to be much more loyal to whatever is the best model available. So now on to more of my workflow. So what I'm doing is on the top right, you can toggle the bottom panel. Now we have terminal. We have a terminal here open in Codex. And I just type Claude. That's going to open up Claude Code. So now I have Claude Code on my system on the same page as Codex up here. So we can literally have Claude Code and Codex working on the same code base. And this allows me to do design work down here in Claude Code. It'll update the same code base. So, when I refresh the local browser, it would update it. And that's what I'm doing for the most part, is more design work here and more like backend logic and such there. I'm also using the goal feature a lot here in Codex. This is something I've been finding really useful for longer running tasks. Now, another cool feature is something called Codex Pet. Now you can open this if you go into the Codex settings. We can go to I think it's under pets. Yeah. And then you can also select different ones. This is just the basic one. So right now mine's open. I could also hide it. But what's really cool about this is I could say, do an audit of our website. It's going to send a prompt. And now what's happening is this, which is going to be just on my desktop. I can close Codex. And what this is going to do is kind of give me a little preview of what's happening. If we have multiple chats, it'll all show. And when it's done, it will let me know as well. So I'll know to go back to Codex. So this is just really helpful. If you want to multitask, go on Twitter, go on YouTube while a long task is running. This will let us know when it's done. So this is just a really cool feature. I kind of alluded to it earlier, wanted to talk about it as well. Okay, so hopefully that is kind of a summary and now you have a better sense of what workflow I'm using between these three tools. Cursor right now, just for small design updates if I want to use their design mode. Otherwise, it's in the Codex app and have Claude Code open for design and Codex for everything else. If you want me to go deeper on any of these, maybe a full workflow walkthrough showing how I combine all of these in more of a tutorial-based project, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am trying to stay as up to date as I can on everything in the AI world. So be sure to subscribe. You'll get all of our videos for free here on YouTube. Also, if you want to stay up to date on all of the changes happening in the AI builder world, go to our website, nocode.mba, go to the newsletter tab on the top, enter your email. I read this every single day to see what are the latest features that OpenAI, Anthropic, Cursor, and all of the other AI coding tools are releasing. I find it really helpful and interesting. So I think you will as well if you watch this video. So go to our website and subscribe for free to our daily newsletter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.